Season 40, War number 3, and we are up against TCN. And this time my team will be Valkyrie, Human Torch and Mantis. A bit of a different team, and I don't really have that many fights this time around, but it's gonna be an interesting one anyways. I'm gonna be taking Path 1 in Section 1, Path 9 in Section 2, as well as the Dr. Doom on the Hazard Shift node, and finally I will also be taking this Annihilus miniboss on the Conflictor miniboss node. I was also gonna take a Black Panther Civil War on node 20, there on the left side, but someone else got to him first, so not this time. Up first we have a Mephisto on the Personal Space Regeneration node, and I'm taking the fight with Human Torch using the Nova Flame pre-fight. And this is the only Human Torch fight I have this war, and with the Nova Flame pre-fight it is a very simple one, a very easy one, and it's almost impossible to die here. The Nova Flames are just gonna melt Mephisto down, and well, the regen is not an issue either. I am gonna outdamage it with the Nova Flames, and even if I didn't have the damage to deal with it, Nova Flames do also lower the regeneration rate on the opponent, so just a few of those on the opponent and their healing is completely shut down. The fight is over in less than 30 seconds, just like most Mystic opponents would be with Human Torch, at least in the first section of Alliance War. Then we have a thing on the Masochism Overtime node, and I'm taking the fight with Valkyrie. The game plan here is very simple. I'm just gonna be playing it like a normal Valkyrie fight, getting that special 2, throwing it into the opponent's block, and then just hitting them until they drop. Valkyrie shuts down things unstoppable completely, so that is not an issue, and the protection is not gonna be triggering because I won't be parrying him, and I won't be hitting hard enough for it to trigger on my special 2 either. Now if you would stack too many of the bulwarks to ramp up the fury on that special 2 even higher, then you would be triggering the protection on the special 2, so that is something you want to avoid doing. Against a thing, a single bulwark is fine, but try not to go over that, or you might have issues. And he went down in less than a minute with 0 issues whatsoever. Valkyrie is just one of the best options for him. Now for this next fight I'm gonna be showcasing a cool little trick that I found pretty recently, but more on that once I get to it. Now this guy right here is a Dr. Doom on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed node, as well as Conflictor and Crumbling Armor. I'm gonna be using Valkyrie, and the game plan here is to only hit into his block for the whole fight. That way I don't have to worry about Hazard Shift at all, and it's gonna be a pretty simple, a pretty easy fight. Now the biggest concern here, apart from hitting him directly, is the fact that his special 1 triggers his aura, and while it's active, any contact with him has a chance to nullify buffs on me and then inflict those shock debuffs, which then allows Doom to try to Doom slap me with the passive stun. So whenever I do have to bait a special 1, I'm just gonna be dancing around waiting out the aura before I start hitting him again, just to be safe. Now most of you probably already know about the AI manipulation trick with throwing your light attack into the air as the opponent dashes back, which makes the AI stutter for a bit. But recently I figured out you can take it further. You can actually do a full light hit combo into the air to invert your combo with Valkyrie without having to touch the opponent. And that is extremely useful against opponents who you do not want to hit directly, such as the Hazard Shift nodes, or a Rintra, or whatever else. Doing so gives you access to those bulwark buffs, which means you have a higher chance of shocking debuffs, you get the stun immunity, you get more damage on your special 2. All of that without having to spend any power by using a special into the block, or anything like that. It's extremely useful in certain situations, and you should definitely practice it a bit and make it a part of your Valkyrie gameplay, because it is just so damn useful in so many situations. You're gonna see me use the trick a lot more in the future, and even later in this same war. Next up we have a Jessica Jones on the hazard shift Shock and Bleed with one eye open node as well. And I'm gonna be taking this fight with Mantis. Now to explain why I'm using Mantis, she basically counters this matchup perfectly. First off, the Tranquilize passive lowers the opponent's debuff ability accuracy by 100% against Science champions, so as long as I can keep it up, Jessica Jones will not be able to inflict any of the hazard shift debuffs on me, or any debuffs with her base kit either. And then we also have the Unstoppable and Unblockable that Jessica Jones has. The source of those abilities is her Investigation passive. She gains those throughout the fight by inflicting debuffs or by her opponent gaining power, and the way to get rid of those is by gaining cleanse effects. And Mantis just so happens to gain 2 cleanses with every special one, so I can keep those in check. By simply spamming my special ones, I don't have to worry about any unstoppables, unblockables, anything like that, and the fight becomes pretty simple. Now normally, when you see people use Mantis, they go for a big special 2 to nuke down opponents, but in this case, the special 1 spam is the safer bet. I could have gone for the special 2s, but that would have been risky, because, well, being at above 2 bars of power makes Jessica Jones gain those investigations passively over time, and charging up that heavy attack for the big special 2 might be long enough to make her trigger the Unstoppable as soon as I throw my special 2. It simply wasn't safe, so I went with the special 1 spam instead. Now, some of you probably noticed that whenever I use my special 1 here, I also start stacking up the passive Furies, which shouldn't happen, since she's only supposed to gain the Furies when she's charging her heavy attack. And yes, I believe that is a bug. It's a trick that I found basically right before the war started, and if you charge up your heavy attack and then cancel it with your special attack before you get your first passive Fury, you keep stacking up the passive Furies for the full duration of the special. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it is a bug and it will likely get fixed, but it is pretty awesome and it's very useful, so use it as long as it lasts. And then we have a Sersi on the hazard shift Shock and Bleed, as well as Nerves of Steel nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Valkyrie. The game plan here is the exact same as it was against that Doom, but instead of having to dance around the aura, I simply just keep hitting into her block for the whole fight. This fight does start out pretty slow, but as soon as I get a few pierce buffs up, it's gonna speed up quite a bit. She still won't be triggering her glancing on blocked hits, and the only real issue here is her special 1 because it will be unblockable, but even then it is pretty easy to dex. I'm almost at full 3 pierce buffs, after which I will be inverting my combo with the same light attack trick that I did against that Doom, just to stack up the bulwarks to make my special 2 hit that much harder. Right here. As soon as Sersi dashed back, I started spamming my light attacks, finishing a full 4-hit light attack combo into the air, and that inverted my combo. Now I simply just keep hitting the opponent's block to build up more power, get those bulwark buffs as well, and then go for a big special too. That should be enough to finish the fight. Now, before I get to my special 2 here, I wasn't really sure if throwing it into the block would trigger her glancing, so instead, as soon as I got to my special 2, I hit into her block, then started holding my own block for a little bit to try to bait a heavy attack. She threw it immediately, triggered her glancing, and now it's on cooldown. So now I'm free to throw my special 2 without any fear of getting glanced, and she goes down with a lot of overkill as well. Then we have the final fight of this war, an Annihilus on the Conflictor miniboss node, and I'm gonna be taking this fight with Valkyrie. I do have a White Magneto pre-fight here to help out a little bit in case I actually do need to parry at times, just to be safe. Now my game plan was to only hit into this guy's block for the whole fight, but I figured that since it's only an Annihilus and I do have the White Magneto pre-fight here, I can just go ahead and hit him directly as well to build up power faster, just so I can get in and get out and be done with the war. I really don't have any issues fighting this guy. I fought him so many times with champions like Tigra before that I know his animations. I can dex his special one just fine, and I have no issues with it. Now if I were to get clipped or blocked some hits and got those stifle debuffs, the unstoppable he gets when I dash back wouldn't matter at all. Valkyrie will just bypass the unstoppable completely, so that is not really a risk either. I did also go for a single bulwark there to increase the damage on my special too, as well as to gain the stun immunity, just in case I accidentally get parried at some point, but it didn't really come into play. He went down very quickly there, and Valkyrie is still standing at full health. As for the results, we did end up winning the war 8-5. Not really a great showcase by either of us, to be completely honest.